Okay, well, this is Mike DeBoer with Schoolie Mitchell, and I'm honored to be joined by a special guest. So, Ralph, if you could kind of just introduce yourself and give a little bit of background on who you are, that'd be great.
Sure. I am Ralph Nilssen. I am a franchise coach with the Entrepreneur Source. I have been here doing this for about 10 years. Um, I got into this business basically, I'll give you the short version. I started out as a Western Regional Manager for Allergan Pharmaceuticals many years ago. And after 3 years of that, they were bought by a larger company. And we were all let go. And that was my first experience of, well, maybe I don't want to climb the corporate ladder. And so I have had some W 2 jobs along the way. I've owned four businesses along the way. I've sold those businesses and moved on. The last company I worked for was a very largest in the world, fresh cut Christmas tree company. We sold product all over the world, many different states, many different countries. Um, and after about 15 years of working there, I actually made an offer to buy them out, and I bought them out. Took that company from 6 million to about 13 million in the 9 years that I owned it. And in those 9 years, I got an offer to be bought out, which I took, and I reached my goal of being retired by the time I hit 60. And so that was just a goal I had, and retired. And my wife and I traveled. We went all different countries and played with our grandkids, had a great time. But also, I was fairly young, and I thought, okay, I'm getting very bored
Sure.
doing this, as bad as that sounds.
Yeah.
So somebody introduced me to the Source, which is a franchise. I found it fit my needs from a standpoint of I didn't want to work 60 hours anymore. I didn't want 300 employees. I wanted to work out of my home, something maybe my wife and I could do together. So my time was my time. I went ahead and got into that franchise. Been here, this is my 10th year, thoroughly enjoy it. Love helping other people find businesses that they may not be aware are out there for them. So that's kind of a very short cliff notes.
Sure. Awesome, Ralph. And yeah, retired by 60, that's very cool. But it sounds like you've had a great sort of second act in your professional life and helping a lot of people as well. And if you don't mind then sharing sort of what your role is as a coach and what you do to help your clients and what the process looks like that you're taking them through.
Sure. My role in anybody that I have as a client is to, first of all, put them in a very safe environment where they can talk about anything they want to. Secondly, is to help them see what might be available to them. But before I even get to that point, it's really getting to know them as a person. What motivates them? What are they interested in? What types of things have they looked for in the past? Have they ever thought about small business ownership? So I really try to drill down and get to know my clients and understand them. Once I do that, then my job as a coach is to bring them some possibilities that they can look at that might meet their needs. And at the same time, put it in an environment where they feel no pressure whatsoever to do anything until they reach what we call a point of clarity. They say, you know what, that's what I would like to do. So I enjoy it. It's a very relaxed environment. There's no pressure on anybody ever. And it's just a great way to go on a journey of discovery with people.
Sure. Awesome. Fantastic. And I'm interested, Ralph, how do you help them sort of figure out their goals? Because I think sometimes people, maybe they're not aware of that as they're coming out of corporate or thinking of leaving corporate. How do you learn about or help them learn about their goals? And then how do you reinforce those goals as they go through their due diligence process and kind of get towards making a decision?
Sure. Um, with all my clients, I have questionnaires and other types of documents that I send to them and ask them to fill out, and that'll be a portion of our discussion. I try to meet with my clients once a week. Um, so some of those have to do with goals, where they want to go, where they see themselves, what kind of income do they want to make? Do they want a lifestyle where they're working out of their home, or do they want a lifestyle where they go to their business and they work in it and have employees? So there's a lot to learn and a lot to understand about each client that I work with. Um, yeah,
Awesome. And I think, Ralph, one of the other values that you provide is obviously you and the Entrepreneur Source have this sort of portfolio of franchise models that they have knowledge about and relationships with, and they know the kind of the ins and outs of those businesses. How important is it that you can help navigate your clients through what I think can maybe look like an overwhelming landscape? There's a lot of different types of franchises, and they probably also have misconceptions on franchising to begin with. So how important is it that you can help them navigate that landscape and maybe kind of distill it to something bite-sized so they can actually pursue it?
Yeah, it's very important, and I find with all my clients that the trust level is very high with them, and I never abuse that. Yes, I've got 250 or so franchises to me available to me. Um, I first need to look at franchises that meet their goals. What are their goals? What are their needs? What are their expectations going forward? Um, and then I will only bring them three franchises at a time. Things that I think would meet what those goals are. Talk about them, go over them with them, give them kind of the ins and the outs of the franchise, and then ask that they just have one phone call with that franchise. It will be not pressure, no pressure situation. They don't know what they don't know, which is the old saying. And if they commit to at least talking to one franchise, I find that they go, yeah, I'm not really interested in that. Or they come back to me going, I had no idea that that was what they did. This is fantastic. So we go that direction. Sometimes we lose a franchise and we drop it off. Sometimes I'll add another one. But most of the part, I keep it within two or three that they're working with and let them go through that period of discovery. So I try to, as you said, make it bite sized for them.
Right. Awesome. And Rolf, do you have any specific example of maybe somebody that was, maybe financially limited in the kind of investment they could make, or maybe there was another challenge that they were facing in their process, and you helped them find the right fit, and that's been a fit that they've been successful in? Any stories, maybe without naming names, that you can share along those lines?
Yeah, it's very interesting because as you talk to people, you meet all sorts of individuals, and everybody has a story of their life. And some of those, quite honestly, are rather sad. They've gotten themselves into situations where they don't have finances that are available to them, or their credit score is really bad. Um, so I spend a lot of time talking to people about their finances. I have other people that I work with, other companies that I can recommend that they go to for credit score fixing and such. But I never put anybody in a position where they feel like they cannot afford to do what we're presenting to them. And that may mean that I say to them, at this point in your life, I'm going to recommend that we stay off 6 months or a year before we talk to each other again. Here's what I would like you to do. And that's part of what coaching is all about. It's not putting somebody in a bad position, it's helping them to find themselves in a good position, whether that's 6 months or a year down the road. For me, I don't mind that. And then again, I've had a number of people that have bought franchises over the years, could be in pet industry, home services industry, senior care industry, um, uh, expense savings industry, small restaurants. Boy, you name it. I've had people in those particular businesses that I've been able to find for them. How are they doing? Most of them are doing fairly well, but I don't keep track of everybody that I've placed. I'll send birthday cards. We'll talk during the year sometime and see how they're doing. But everybody's different point of success it is different. Somebody who's wants to stay as a W-2 employee and is making an extra $50,000 a year on a side business that they own franchise, they may be very happy. Then I've got somebody else who's done well with their franchise. They're making a couple $100,000. That's what their goal was. They're very happy with that. So I never spend too much time with my clients as far as after they've purchased a franchise. And one of those reasons is the franchise wants to train them and teach them and be there for them. They don't want me mucking up the business. You
Sure.
know, I've got a
Very
lot of
fair.
business. I've got a lot of business experience, but I might not be training them the way that the franchise wants.
Very fair, Ralph, and great, great insights there. I'm also interested. I think sometimes people maybe have either misconceptions about franchising or just really don't understand the model of franchising in general. So what role do you play in maybe, getting them over those misconceptions they have, or just kind of giving them the basics on what franchising looks like and what being a franchisee in a model also looks like?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges I have is most people that I'm working with as clients come from a W-2 background,
Right.
and there's nothing wrong with that. But there is a mindset for a W-2 background, and then there is a mindset for somebody who owns their own business as an entrepreneur. Give you an example. I had somebody I was working with the last couple of months that actually ended up buying a franchise. Who started out, the wife had owned businesses in the past, some small businesses, but nonetheless owned them. The husband has always been a W-2, and he could not get past the point that I would not have a check coming in every 2 weeks. But all of a sudden, when he realized, wow, I have control of my life here. Oh, I could be there for my kids' performances and things. Oh, they're not going to tell me I have to fly out for 2 weeks this week. Oh, he went on, and all of a sudden, one day I was having that meeting with him, and his wife was smiling, and I was looking at him on a Zoom video, and he started talking to me as a business owner. Well, I can see where we can do this and we can do that. And all of a sudden, he made that paradigm shift from W-2 to entrepreneur. And I love when I see that happen with people. And so that's one thing that I see a lot of. And you have to help them to get in that position before they can even realize in some ways what a franchise is for them. But generally, a franchise is a business in a box that has a lot of experience that will help them to succeed in what they would like to do and are there for them 24/7. So it's a great experience.
Awesome, Ralph. Well, I thank you for sharing some insights. Is there anything else before I let you go that you wanted to say, or where can people find you, or any additional plugs about yourself that you want to give?
Well, I appreciate that very much. Easiest to find me is online. Just type in Ralph Nilssen, Nilssen. I come right up. Phone number 206-850-7320. Happy for somebody to give me a call. Happy to talk to them and see where they're at.
Awesome, Ralph. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Mike, appreciate your time too. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks.